The Porsche 550 Spyder is one of the most legendary race cars ever built. It helped define Porsche's early racing success, and it's also the same model forever linked to the tragedy of James Dean. Now, let's explore 20 weird facts about Jerry Seinfeld's 1955 Porsche 550 Spyder. Number 20. The Porsche 550 Spyder was Porsche's first purpose-built race car. Before the Porsche 550 Spyder existed, Porsche mainly modified road cars for competition. Early racing efforts involved adapting models like the Porsche 356 to perform better on racetracks. While these cars were capable competitors, they were never originally designed solely for racing. Engineers at Porsche realized that true motorsport success required a machine created from the ground up, with racing as its primary mission. This realization led to the development of the 550 Spyder in the early 1950s. The car was designed with a lightweight tubular chassis that allowed engineers to keep the overall weight extremely low. Its small size and minimal bodywork reduced aerodynamic drag while maximizing agility in corners. Instead of adapting a production car, Porsche designed every component specifically for racing performance. The mid-engine layout placed the engine closer to the center of the car, improving balance and handling characteristics. This design allowed drivers to maintain better control during high-speed maneuvers. When the 550 Spyder began competing in international racing events, it quickly demonstrated the effectiveness of Porsche's new engineering philosophy. The car achieved victories in multiple competitions, establishing Porsche as a serious contender in motorsport. For collectors such as Jerry Seinfeld, owning a 550 Spyder represents far more than possessing an old racing vehicle. It means holding a piece of the company's origin story in professional racing. The model laid the foundation for many of Porsche's future motorsport successes. Without the engineering lessons learned from the 550 Spyder, later iconic Porsche racing machines might never have existed. Number 19. The engine was incredibly small but surprisingly powerful. One of the most fascinating engineering decisions behind the Porsche 550 Spyder was the use of a relatively small engine. While many racing cars of the 1950s relied on large displacement engines to generate power, Porsche pursued a different strategy. The Spyder used a compact four-cylinder engine known as the Fuhrmann engine. Named after engineer Ernst Fuhrmann, this power plant featured a complex design with double overhead camshafts and a four-cam configuration. Despite its modest displacement, the engine produced impressive horsepower for its size. The lightweight construction of the car allowed the engine's output to deliver strong performance without requiring massive power levels. The combination of low weight and efficient engine design allowed the 550 Spyder to accelerate quickly and maintain high speeds during races. The engine's compact dimensions also helped engineers position it near the center of the chassis. This mid-engine layout improved weight distribution and handling stability. Drivers could push the car harder through corners while maintaining control. For enthusiasts like Jerry Seinfeld, the Fuhrmann engine represents a remarkable piece of engineering creativity. Instead of relying on brute force, Porsche engineers demonstrated that intelligent design could produce exceptional performance from a relatively small power plant. Number 18. The 550 Spyder's body was made from extremely thin aluminum. Weight reduction played a crucial role in the performance of the Porsche 550 Spyder. Engineers understood that lighter vehicles accelerate faster, corner more efficiently, and place less strain on mechanical components. To achieve this advantage, the Spyder's body panels were constructed from very thin sheets of aluminum. Skilled craftsmen shaped the metal by hand over wooden forms to achieve the aerodynamic contours designed by Porsche engineers. The resulting bodywork looked elegant while also serving an important performance function. The thin aluminum panels reduced overall weight while still providing enough structural integrity for racing conditions. This lightweight construction helped the 550 Spyder achieve an impressive power-to-weight ratio. Drivers could push the car aggressively through corners and accelerate quickly on straight sections of track. For collectors such as Jerry Seinfeld, the delicate aluminum body represents a reminder of how early racing engineers prioritized performance above all else. Modern cars often use complex composites and reinforced materials, but the Spyder relied on the craftsmanship of metalworkers to achieve its lightweight design. Number 17. The car's low profile made it extremely aerodynamic for its era. The Porsche 550 Spyder sits remarkably low to the ground compared with many other cars from the 1950s. This design was not merely aesthetic. Engineers deliberately created a low profile to reduce aerodynamic drag. At high speeds, air resistance becomes one of the largest forces slowing a vehicle. By keeping the body close to the ground and shaping it smoothly, Porsche engineers allowed air to flow more efficiently over the car's surface. This reduced drag and improved top speed on long racing straights. The low profile also lowered the car's center of gravity, improving handling and stability during high-speed cornering. Drivers could maintain better control when pushing the car to its limits. The aerodynamic advantages of the Spyder's design contributed significantly to its racing success. For collectors like Jerry Seinfeld, the car's sleek silhouette remains one of its most visually striking features. Even decades later, the design still looks purposeful and aggressive. Number 16. The Spyder's racing success helped establish Porsche's reputation worldwide. Before the 550 Spyder began competing internationally, Porsche was still a relatively small manufacturer, known mainly for sports cars derived from the Volkswagen platform. The racing success of the Spyder changed that perception dramatically. When the car began winning races against larger and more powerful competitors, the global motorsport community took notice. Victories in prestigious competitions demonstrated that Porsche's engineering philosophy could compete with established racing brands. The car performed especially well in smaller displacement racing categories, where its lightweight design and balanced handling gave it a significant advantage. Each victory increased Porsche's visibility among racing enthusiasts and potential customers. The Spyder effectively served as a rolling advertisement for the company's engineering capabilities. For collectors like Jerry Seinfeld, owning a 550 Spyder represents owning the machine that helped launch Porsche's reputation as a dominant force in motorsport. Number 15. The Porsche 550 Spyder used a mid-engine layout that was revolutionary for its time. The car engine one of the most important engineering choices behind the Porsche 550 Spyder was its mid-engine configuration. While many road cars and race cars of the 1950s placed the engine at the front of the vehicle, Porsche engineers decided to mount the engine directly behind the driver, but ahead of the rear axle. This placement fundamentally changed the way the car handled. By positioning the engine near the center of the chassis, the vehicle achieved a much more balanced weight distribution. In a traditional front-engine car, a large portion of the weight sits over the front wheels. This can create understeer during cornering, meaning the car tends to push wide in turns. With the engine positioned in the middle, the 550 Spyder distributed its mass more evenly between the front and rear axles. This improved balance allowed drivers to maintain greater control when navigating tight corners at high speed. The mid-engine layout also reduced the rotational inertia of the vehicle, meaning the car could change direction more quickly and respond more precisely to steering input. These handling advantages proved invaluable during competitive racing events, where agility and stability often determined the outcome. For drivers pushing the car to its limits on winding circuits, the Spyder's balanced design provided a competitive edge. Although the concept of mid-engine cars may seem common today, it was relatively uncommon when the 550 Spyder was introduced. Many manufacturers still relied on traditional front-engine designs. Porsche's willingness to adopt this innovative layout demonstrated its forward-thinking engineering philosophy. The success of the Spyder helped prove that mid-engine configurations could dramatically improve racing performance. In later decades, this design approach would become standard for many high-performance racing cars and supercars. For collectors such as Jerry Seinfeld, the mid-engine layout represents one of the most historically important aspects of the vehicle. It symbolizes a turning point in racing car design, where balance and precision began to take precedence over traditional layouts. Number 14. The Spyder's suspension allowed it to dominate tight and technical racetracks. While raw engine power often attracts the most attention in racing discussions, suspension design plays an equally important role in determining how a car performs on the track. The Porsche 550 Spyder featured a carefully engineered suspension system that allowed it to excel on technical circuits filled with sharp turns and elevation changes. At the front, the car used a double wishbone suspension setup combined with torsion bars. This arrangement allowed each front wheel to move independently when encountering bumps or cornering forces. Independent movement helped maintain consistent tire contact with the road surface, which improved grip and stability. At the rear, the suspension was designed to complement the mid-engine layout by maintaining balanced traction under acceleration and cornering. The lightweight construction of the Spyder further enhanced the effectiveness of the suspension system. Because the car weighed significantly less than many competitors, the suspension components could react more quickly to changes in the road surface. This responsiveness gave drivers greater confidence when pushing the car through demanding sections of a race circuit. On tracks filled with tight turns rather than long straightaways, the Spyder's agility often allowed it to outperform more powerful vehicles. Instead of relying solely on horsepower, Porsche engineers focused on creating a machine that handled predictably and efficiently. Drivers could carry higher speeds through corners while maintaining control, which often translated into faster lap times overall. For collectors like Jerry Seinfeld, the suspension system represents another example of how Porsche engineers emphasized intelligent design over brute force. The Spyder's ability to dominate technical tracks helped cement its reputation as one of the most capable racing machines of its era. Number 13. The car's minimal windshield was designed purely for racing efficiency. Unlike most road cars that feature large windshields for comfort and visibility, the Porsche 550 Spyder used a very small windscreen positioned directly in front of the driver. This design choice reflected the car's uncompromising focus on racing performance. Large windshields create aerodynamic drag by disrupting the smooth flow of air over the vehicle. By reducing the windshield to a small curved panel, Porsche engineers minimized air resistance and allowed airflow to pass more efficiently across the body of the car. The small windscreen also reduced weight, another critical factor in racing design. However, this minimalist approach came with trade-offs. Drivers receive far less protection from wind, debris, and weather compared with occupants of conventional automobiles. At high speeds, air rushed directly around the cockpit, creating an intense driving environment. During races, drivers often wore goggles or specialized helmets to protect their eyes from flying particles and strong airflow. Despite these challenges, the aerodynamic benefits outweighed the discomfort. The Spyder's small windshield became one of its most recognizable design elements, emphasizing its identity as a purpose-built racing machine. For collectors like Jerry Seinfeld, the tiny windscreen serves as a visual reminder that the car was never intended to be a luxury touring vehicle. Every component was designed with a single goal in mind: maximizing racing performance. Number 12. The Spyder's braking system required exceptional skill from drivers. Modern high-performance vehicles rely on advanced braking technologies such as anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and large ventilated disc brakes. The Porsche 550 Spyder, however, came from a time when drivers had to rely primarily on their own skill and judgment to slow the car safely. The braking system consisted of relatively simple drum brakes mounted at each wheel. While these brakes were effective for the technology available at the time, they required careful control from the driver. Applying too much pressure too quickly could cause the wheels to lock, leading to loss of traction and potential loss of control. During endurance races, drivers also had to manage brake temperature carefully. Repeated heavy braking could cause drum brakes to overheat, reducing their effectiveness. Skilled racers learned to anticipate corners early and apply braking pressure gradually to maintain control while preserving the braking system. The lightweight design of the Spyder helped compensate for these limitations by reducing the overall mass the brakes needed to slow. For collectors like Jerry Seinfeld, driving the car today requires understanding these historical braking characteristics. Operating the Spyder is not simply about pressing a pedal. It involves reading the road, judging speed precisely, and using mechanical feedback to control the car effectively. This level of driver involvement adds to the vehicle's unique character. Number 11, the Spyder's exposed cockpit created an intense racing experience. Perhaps the most striking feature of the Porsche 550 Spyder is its open cockpit design. Unlike modern race cars with enclosed cabins and extensive safety equipment, the Spyder placed the driver directly in the open air. The low bodywork wrapped around the driver, but the top remained completely exposed. This design reduced weight and improved aerodynamic efficiency, but it also meant that drivers experienced the full intensity of racing conditions. At high speeds, wind rushed past the driver's helmet, while engine noise echoed through the cockpit. Heat from the engine and mechanical components often surrounded the driver during long races. Communication between driver and machine became extremely direct. The driver could feel every vibration, hear every mechanical change, and sense the car's behavior through the steering wheel and seat. While this level of exposure might seem uncomfortable by modern standards, many racers appreciated the raw connection it created between driver and vehicle. For collectors like Jerry Seinfeld, sitting in the cockpit today offers a glimpse into the experiences of the drivers who originally raced these machines. The open design highlights how daring early motorsport truly was, with competitors pushing powerful machines to their limits while sitting only inches above the pavement. Number 10. The 550 Spyder used magnesium components to reduce weight even further. Weight reduction was one of the central philosophies behind the Porsche 550 Spyder, and engineers pursued this goal with relentless determination. Aluminum body panels already made the car extremely light, but Porsche went even further by incorporating magnesium in several mechanical components. Magnesium was rarely used in road cars during the 1950s because it was expensive and difficult to work with, but racing engineers recognized its potential advantages. The metal is significantly lighter than steel, and even lighter than aluminum, making it valuable when every kilogram matters. By using magnesium in parts such as engine components and wheels, Porsche engineers were able to shave additional weight from the Spyder. This reduction improved acceleration, braking performance, and overall agility on the racetrack. Lighter wheels also reduced unsprung mass, meaning the suspension could respond more quickly to bumps and irregularities in the road surface. For racing drivers pushing the car through tight corners, this translated into sharper handling and improved stability. However, magnesium required careful treatment because it could be more fragile than other metals and demanded precise engineering to avoid structural weakness. For collectors like Jerry Seinfeld, the presence of magnesium parts illustrates how seriously Porsche pursued performance advantages. The Spyder was not just a fast car, it was a carefully optimized machine where even the smallest design choices were made to maximize racing potential. Number 9. The Spyder's fuel tank placement helped balance the car during long races. Fuel tank fuel load can dramatically affect the balance of a racing car. Engineers designing the Porsche 550 Spyder understood that as fuel was consumed during a race, the vehicle's weight distribution could shift and alter handling characteristics. To minimize this effect, they carefully positioned the fuel tank within the chassis to maintain stable balance throughout the race. Instead of placing the tank in a location that would significantly change the center of gravity as fuel levels dropped, engineers positioned it in a way that preserved the car's overall stability. This careful placement allowed drivers to maintain predictable handling, whether the tank was full or nearly empty. In endurance races where fuel loads changed repeatedly during pit stops, maintaining consistent handling was extremely important. Sudden shifts in balance could make the car unpredictable during high-speed cornering. The Spyder's thoughtful fuel tank placement helped ensure that drivers could push the car confidently without constantly adjusting to changing weight distribution. For collectors like Jerry Seinfeld, this engineering detail highlights how even invisible design choices contributed to the car's racing success. The fuel tank might not be visible when looking at the exterior of the Spyder, but its position within the chassis reflects careful planning and sophisticated engineering. Number 8. The Spyder's lightweight wheels improved acceleration and braking performance. Another important element contributing to the Porsche 550 Spyder's racing success was its carefully designed wheel construction. Racing engineers understand that reducing rotating mass can significantly improve a vehicle's responsiveness. The wheels on the Spyder were designed to be as lightweight as possible without sacrificing strength. Lightweight wheels reduce the amount of energy required to accelerate the vehicle because the engine does not need to spin heavy components as quickly. At the same time, lighter wheels allow the braking system to slow the car more effectively because there is less rotational inertia resisting deceleration. The reduced mass also allows the suspension to react more quickly to changes in the road surface. When a wheel encounters a bump, the suspension must absorb the impact while maintaining tire contact with the ground. Lighter wheels allow the suspension to respond faster, improving grip and stability during racing. For drivers navigating challenging circuits, this combination of advantages made a noticeable difference. The Spyder's wheel design therefore contributed directly to the car's agility and overall performance. For collectors such as Jerry Seinfeld, examining the wheels of the 550 Spyder reveals another example of how Porsche engineers focused on every possible detail to maximize racing efficiency. Number 7. The Spyder's steering system provided extremely direct feedback. Driving a Porsche 550 Spyder requires a level of attention and sensitivity that modern cars rarely demand. One reason is the car's highly direct steering system. Unlike modern vehicles that often include power steering assistance, the Spyder relied entirely on mechanical steering components. The steering wheel connected directly to the front wheels through a system of gears and linkages without electronic or hydraulic assistance. This design meant that every movement of the road surface could be felt through the steering wheel. Drivers received constant feedback about tire grip, surface conditions, and the car's balance during cornering. While this level of sensitivity required physical effort from the driver, it also allowed skilled racers to control the vehicle with exceptional precision. By feeling subtle changes in steering resistance, drivers could detect when the tires were approaching the limit of traction. This feedback allowed them to adjust their driving style accordingly, maintaining speed without losing control. For collectors like Jerry Seinfeld, driving the Spyder today offers a rare opportunity to experience this pure mechanical connection between driver and machine. The steering system reflects a time when racing relied entirely on human skill and mechanical feedback rather than electronic assistance. Number 6. The Spyder's racing heritage continues to influence modern Porsche design. Even though the Porsche 550 Spyder was introduced more than half a century ago, its influence can still be seen in modern Porsche sports cars. Many of the engineering principles first demonstrated in the Spyder became foundational ideas for future Porsche development. The mid-engine layout, lightweight construction philosophy, and emphasis on balanced handling all carried forward into later models. Vehicles such as the Porsche Boxster and Cayman continue to use mid-engine configurations inspired by early racing designs, like the 550 Spyder. Porsche engineers also continue to prioritize weight reduction and aerodynamic efficiency when designing modern sports cars. The legacy of the Spyder therefore extends far beyond its original racing victories. For collectors like Jerry Seinfeld, owning a 550 Spyder means owning a machine that helped shape the identity of one of the most respected sports car manufacturers in the world. The car represents a starting point for many engineering traditions that Porsche continues to refine today. Even modern racing programs within the company trace their philosophy back to lessons learned from early machines like the Spyder. Number 5. The Porsche 550. The Spyder used extremely short gearing designed for racing acceleration. One of the defining mechanical characteristics of the Porsche 550 Spyder was its carefully selected gear ratios. Instead of using transmission gearing designed for relaxed highway cruising, Porsche engineers optimized the Spyder's gearbox for rapid acceleration and racing performance. The gears were relatively short, meaning the engine would climb through its revolutions quickly before the driver shifted into the next gear. This setup allowed the car to accelerate strongly out of corners, which was crucial during circuit racing. Tracks used during the 1950s often featured tight bends and short straights rather than long, high-speed sections. Quick acceleration therefore mattered more than achieving extreme top speeds. When a driver exited a corner, the short gearing allowed the engine to deliver immediate power to the rear wheels. This helped the car regain speed quickly before approaching the next turn. However, this design also meant the engine operated at higher revolutions during normal driving conditions. On public roads, the car could feel busy and loud because the engine rarely settled into a low cruising speed. Drivers needed to shift frequently to maintain smooth performance. For collectors like Jerry Seinfeld, experiencing the Spyder's gearing today reveals how uncompromising the car's racing DNA truly was. Every mechanical decision focused on maximizing competitive advantage rather than everyday convenience. The gearbox reflected a philosophy where acceleration and responsiveness mattered more than comfort or fuel efficiency. Number 4. The Spyder's steering wheel was intentionally oversized for driver control. Inside the compact cockpit of the Porsche 550 Spyder sits a steering wheel that appears unusually large compared with those found in modern sports cars. This design choice served an important practical purpose. Because the car did not have power steering assistance, drivers needed sufficient leverage to turn the wheels effectively, especially at lower speeds. A larger steering wheel provided greater mechanical advantage. By increasing the wheel's diameter, engineers allowed drivers to apply more torque with less effort. This helped racers maintain control during tight maneuvers in pit areas or while navigating slow corners on technical tracks. The steering wheel also needed to be large enough for drivers wearing racing gloves to maintain a firm grip. Racing conditions could be physically demanding, and the driver required precise control over steering inputs throughout long events. The thin metal spokes and wooden rim reflected the engineering style of the period, where simplicity and functionality guided design decisions. Unlike modern steering wheels equipped with buttons, screens, and electronic controls, the Spyder's wheel served only one purpose: directing the car's movement. For collectors like Jerry Seinfeld, gripping this large steering wheel offers a direct physical connection to the racing drivers who once controlled these machines on famous circuits. The wheel becomes a tactile link between past and present, reminding drivers how much strength and concentration early racers needed to operate their vehicles. Number 3. The Spyder's engine placement created intense heat inside the cockpit. While the mid-engine layout provided excellent balance and handling, it also introduced an unusual challenge for drivers of the Porsche 550 Spyder. The engine sat extremely close to the cockpit area, separated from the driver by only thin metal panels and minimal insulation. During races, the engine generated significant heat that radiated into the driver's compartment. On hot days, cockpit temperatures could become uncomfortably high after extended periods of driving. Drivers often endured this heat while wearing protective racing clothing and helmets, making endurance races even more physically demanding. The heat buildup was a side effect of the car's compact design. Engineers prioritized performance and weight reduction over comfort features such as insulation or ventilation systems. For racing drivers focused on winning competitions, these compromises were accepted as part of the challenge. For modern collectors like Jerry Seinfeld, driving the Spyder can still produce noticeable warmth inside the cockpit. While restoration work may improve insulation slightly, the car's original design means the engine remains very close to the driver. This experience offers insight into the physical conditions faced by racers during the golden age of motorsport. The Spyder's cockpit reminds us that early racing machines demanded endurance from both the driver and the vehicle. Number 2. The Spyder's tiny size made it difficult for larger drivers to fit inside. The Porsche 550 Spyder is surprisingly small when viewed up close. Its compact dimensions were intentional, allowing engineers to reduce weight and create an aerodynamic shape optimized for racing. However, the tight cockpit space created challenges for some drivers. Taller or broader individuals often found it difficult to fit comfortably inside the car. The seats sat extremely low within the chassis, and the steering wheel and pedals were positioned closely together to save space. Drivers needed to climb carefully into the cockpit and adjust their posture to operate the controls effectively. During the 1950s, many racing drivers were relatively slim, which made fitting into the Spyder somewhat easier. Even so, the cockpit remained cramped compared with modern racing vehicles. For collectors like Jerry Seinfeld, entering the car today can feel like squeezing into a mechanical time capsule. The driver sits surrounded by bodywork with little room for movement. This tight environment reinforces the car's identity as a pure racing machine where every centimeter of space served a functional purpose. The compact design also contributed to the Spyder's impressive agility on the track. Number 1, the 550 Spyder became one of the most iconic racing cars in automotive history. Over the decades since its introduction, the Porsche 550 Spyder has earned a legendary reputation among car enthusiasts and historians. Its combination of innovative engineering, racing success, and dramatic historical connections has elevated it beyond the status of a typical vintage automobile. The car played a critical role in establishing Porsche as a serious competitor in international motorsport. Victories achieved by the Spyder demonstrated that intelligent engineering and lightweight design could outperform larger, more powerful rivals. The model also became deeply embedded in automotive culture due to its association with famous drivers and collectors. Vehicles like the one owned by Jerry Seinfeld serve as reminders of an era when racing machines were built with simplicity and purpose. Every component of the Spyder reflects a philosophy centered on performance rather than luxury. Even today, modern Porsche sports cars trace elements of their design philosophy back to this early racing machine. The 550 Spyder represents a pivotal moment in automotive history when engineering creativity reshaped what a racing car could achieve. For collectors, historians, and enthusiasts, the car remains one of the most celebrated examples of early motorsport innovation. Jerry Seinfeld's 1955 Porsche 550 Spyder represents far more than a rare collector's item. It is a symbol of Porsche's early racing ambition and the innovative engineering that helped define modern sports cars. From its lightweight aluminum body to its balanced mid-engine layout, every detail reflects a relentless pursuit of performance. The car's connection to motorsport history and its association with legendary drivers have only increased its mystique over time. Today, the 550 Spyder remains one of the most fascinating racing machines ever built. For enthusiasts and collectors alike, it stands as a reminder of the daring creativity that shaped the golden age of motorsport.